I mean, it would be ridiculous to use martial arts charms, obviously, because you have no skills in it. Shadow disciplines, you're only using those to sort of support your build. You're not using that as the primary focus of your build. So, really, I would not. I mean, a second choice, if you had to go with, if you only had some shadow charms lying around instead of trap charms, yeah, I would use them until you can get trap ones. But you want to get trap grand charms. I'm wearing 5 of these. You can wear more, but I like to keep some inventory space open and some space for my cube and stuff like that. Then you want to have your Hell Torch and your Nihilus as high as you can get them as usual for any build, that's true. Um, Let me see what else I have on here. I'm using Heart of the Oak, and I think that's pretty much the best choice for a Trap Assassin, because you want the plus skills, you also want faster cast rate if you're teleporting. Um, the resistances is really good, you want to get some more resistances in there. It's just good all around, and the 3 to all skills is just as good as it gets. So Heart of the Oak is a definite choice, is definitely what you want to go with. I went with Harlequin Crest Shaco for the helm, and that's pretty much the only way to go, I think, for this build, just because it gives you a bunch of life, a bunch of mana, and gives you the plus the skills you need. It also has some resistances once you put an in it like I did, and it also has some damage reduction, which is good for that defense. So, yeah, you definitely want a helmet that has plus skills, and I don't really see a better choice than the Shaco. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't really think of any others that you wouldn't want to go with Crown of Ages. That's too high of a strength requirement. There are a couple others that you might be interested in, but really, I would go with Shaco. Um, Enigma is probably my favorite armor in the game, just because it gives you teleport. So I'm inclined to put Enigma on almost any build, but this build begs for it really because of the hit and run style of the combat. It's very useful to be able to teleport, and since teleport isn't a native assassin ability and it's a native sorceress ability, I would go with Enigma for sure. It also has the plus skills you want, gives you some faster run walk. It gives you a nice big strength bonus so that you don't have to put, and that's one of the best things about Enigma is the huge strength bonus. It gives, this one's giving 67 to strength, and it's based on the character level, so the higher level your character gets, the more strength it's giving you. So you kind of have to do the math ahead of time before you equip this stuff if you're really planning long term to save points and strength and put them in vitality. So you really have to keep that in mind when you choose Enigma, because you might be getting 57 strength, but 10 levels later, 20 levels later, you're going to be getting 67 strength. And so that changes how many points you're going to want to put into strength. Sometimes it's better to level up before you try to put these items on and before you try to put all your points into your stats. That's hard to do, but, if you do it with a friend, that's usually the best way. I just put a +3 to traps amulet. This is not hard to get. It's not really that rare. You could go with Mara's Kaleidoscope. That would be a good choice for the attributes and the resistances. I just went with this because it gives them max amount of plus skills to traps that you can get on an amulet. This is going to give you the maximum damage, but if you're going to go with a trap amulet like this, I would definitely choose something, if you could, that had some resistances on it or something like that to even it out, make it a little better. Then, as for the rings, I went with just 2 Stones of Jordan. Bull Kathos would be kind of stupid, well, because Life Leech wouldn't help you because you're not melee at all. This gives you a bonus to mana, which helps you with teleporting, and it also gives you that plus skills. I would definitely go with plus skills rings for this build just because you're really not concentrating primarily on your defense and protecting your character because it's not a melee character. So I would go with the rings that are going to give you plus skills. So 2 Stones of Jordan is what I recommend. Arachnid Mesh, I recommend that. That's pretty much the only choice for this build for a belt. Gives you faster cast rate again, so you have a nice fast teleport speed. And it also increases your mana, and it also gives you plus skills. So that's definitely the belt you want to choose for this build, hands down, if you can. Lower options might be anything that increases your mana. I think maybe Gloom's Trap does. There's a couple other ones. Maybe something that just increases your mana, or maybe something like String of Ears that gives you damage reduction to give you some more defense. I went with Mage Fist for the gloves. This is not necessary. I think you could probably find some gloves that have plus to trap skills on them. That might be a better choice. This I went with because of the faster cast rate, because I was trying to reach a very high, a fairly high faster cast rate breakpoint. But you could go with the gloves that have more trap skills. For boots, I went with Sandstorm Trek. You could go with Shadow Dancer, Myrmidon Greaves. Those are pretty good for Assassin. They give some points, I think, +2 to Shadow Disciplines. So that would be a good boots to get. Another good pair of boots to get would be Water Walk. So it's kind of up to you. These ones give some points into Vitality and some into Strength. So I thought that those were some pretty good attributes to get more points into. That's why I chose these. But Water Walk also gives points. But Water Walk, because it gives points mostly, I think, to Dexterity, might not be as good of a choice for this particular build. Might be better for, say, Amazon. And then I went with Spirit as my shield. And this is, in my mind, the only choice for the shield as well. It gives plus skills, faster cast rate, vitality, mana, and resistances. So it's pretty much everything you want to hit with this build. I can't actually think of too many other shields for budget options. I mean, if you're going on a budget, I would recommend something like this, just because it has a very high block rate. It has a very high chance of blocking, and if you put a diamond or something in it, you can get some resistances from it. Mostly, what you're going for is block rate or something like that in a build like this. If you're gonna go with a budget shield, but I would really recommend Spirit. On Switch, I have Call to Arms to give me some plus skills, and I also have another Spirit, and that buffs up Call to Arms when I use it. So that's pretty much the items. Let me just show you a little bit of how the build works, and let's see if I can switch and put bow on. Yeah. Put these on. So I'm going to leave town and